on this episode of Edge of the Web.
Content marketing needs to not just be a thing that I do every single day. Social needs to not just be a thing I do every day that takes up time. This needs to provide value to my business, to my company, to my agency, to my clients.
Your weekly digital marketing trends with industry trend-setting guests. You're listening and watching Edge of the Web. Winners of Best Podcast from the Content Marketing Institute for 2017. Hear and see more at edgeofthewebradio.com. Now, alongside Tom Broadbeck, here's your host, Aaron Sparks.
Hey, we're back broadcasting from Edge Media Studios in downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. Every week we actually bring you the latest trends in marketing and digital marketing, as well as marketing influencers from around the planet here on the show, Edge of the Web Radio. And on top of that, you know what? You can also check out everything, all the material that we do on a weekly basis at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's all the videos, all the podcasts, and much, much more. My name is Aaron Sparks. I'm the CEO and dude that has a number of hats regularly, Site Strategics as well as Edge Media Studios, and I thank you for joining us. And on top of that, you can also check out everything that we do at Site Strategics, because this show is actually provided and produced by our company. We do agile marketing, and what that is basically it's results-based, flexible marketing on the digital front that focuses on ROI above all things. So if you're interested in what we can do for you, go on over to Site Strategics, SITE, strategics.com. And, book a meeting today, and we can actually sit down and talk to you and share a little bit about what we see about your digital landscape. And who knows, you can even come away with some great action tips right then and there. So that said, like I said, I'm your host, Aaron Sparks, and behind the glass over in the producer's booth is Tom Broadbeck. He's the director of digital media.
Hey, Aaron.
Hi.
All right, there we go. Hey, how's it going?
I'm good.
Good. We're training Noah. We never introduced Noah to the show, to our audience before, so we're training Noah on the show today.
Hey, how you doing?
Noah's good. They're bouncing around, sharing a mic, and we certainly appreciate all the help in the back studio. But I mean, literally, you're not in my blood circle here, so I'm a loss without you, Tom.
I know. I'm sorry. Not next week, but the week after, I should be out there with you. I think.
Cool. Yeah. Then I can take hiatus. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay. Fantastic. He always likes running the show by himself. Okay, well, that's who we are, and we certainly appreciate everybody joining us on the live cast. You can always check out the live cast 3 p.m. Eastern from Facebook, and we're also going to be streaming into YouTube and Periscope here very, very soon. You can also download the show on all the different spaces in which we are broadcasting or aggregating our audio feed. That's certainly iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Player FM. Tom, do we have any others that we move?
No, you said Player FM, Overcast. We're getting a lot.
Oh, yeah.
iHeartRadio, Spotify.
Yep.
Spotify. So.
Yep. Anything else?
Not to my knowledge.
We have all of them except for Podbean. Why did we actually remove ourselves from Podbean? Ask us that question.
We have SoundCloud.
We have SoundCloud, yeah, but we're not on Podbean.
Not Podbean.
So, hey, we'd like to introduce to you our guest who's standing by very patiently, Garrett Moon. He's the CEO and co-founder of CoSchedule. Garrett, how you doing?
Hey, guys, I'm doing great.
Excellent.
Great to be on the show.
Yeah, I'm more than welcome to have you. Thank you so much, and thanks for indulging us as we ruminate about all the platforms we aggregate to. But don't ask us about Podbean. Just don't.
I'm kind of tempted to ask. With all that buildup, I just almost need to dive in.
I know. Well, I mean, we're going to have to ask our livecast audience to comment and maybe wonder, give us some ideas of why we're not on Podbean. How about that? Hey, Garrett, you're joining us, so we certainly appreciate you coming on the show today. How would you like to go through this week's digital marketing news with us?
I'd love to.
Fantastic.
I will do the best I can. I can't say I'm an expert on it all, of course, but
you can say it. We'll edit it in post.
I can certainly be a guy with a random opinion, so that's got to be good enough.
All right, Garrett's going to give his drive-by digital marketing opinion right now.
I was very excited to start my reportings.
This week's trending topics.
All right. So we've got some good information out there. One bit of information. Now, we all love Snapchat, right?
Yep.
And audience, please chime in if you're on Facebook Live, because we certainly want your opinion. Snapchat will not let users broadcast live. From John Constantine, Snapchat is finally getting live video, but you won't be able to broadcast. Today, Snapchat announced it will pipe snippets of NBC's live Olympic covers directly into its app. But when TechCrunch actually asked if the users would be able to go live, Snapchat's Snap spokesperson, say that 4 times, told us on background that there's no intention to open up broadcasting to Snapchatters. They said users have not been clamoring for live broadcast abilities, and the company doesn't see many use cases for them. Now, they're a video platform, right? Give or take. They're a video platform. You've got filters, and for some odd reason, they can't connect the dots that people would want to.
All these teenagers, they want to be live streaming themselves.
Yeah,
you know they do.
I know they do. I've got one. I've got a couple of them, and they stream
live
like
stream
a
with filters. That's a teenager's dream.
Absolutely. If we had the ability, I'd do it right now.
If you could have a cat head filter or
some mouse ears,
rainbow,
whatever. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean,
do
I do the rainbow all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my own preoccupation.
Yeah.
But Garrett, what do you think about this? Snapchat won't let us live broadcast. What's up?
To me, it sounded more like a nice way of saying we want this for sponsored content, but not necessarily. It makes sense. You're tying it to the Olympics. It's a good opportunity to get people using the network for different ways. Maybe perhaps a feature they're not ready to roll out to everyone else, and that's just kind of the way to cover their tracks, but maybe just more of a channel that they want to be able to drive revenue from.
Absolutely. I mean, in that way, we don't want to begrudge them for any type of monetization, but I mean,
right.
The platform itself is a video platform. I don't know. I just don't understand that. All right, from CNBC, Facebook is actually planning a more direct assault on YouTube. Speaking about video, Facebook has talked to media buyers about expanding Watch to more individual creators and creating an advertising system where everyone would be able to get a split of the revenue similar to YouTube. The company has also indicated that it will allow brands to select which shows they want to advertise on and potentially create a tiered advertising system to allow companies to advertise on top Watch videos. Well, that's pretty cool. Facebook actually is expanding its TV-like series Watch into rival Google's YouTube by opening up the platform to more individual creators. So, and this is what we talked about for years, actually, and it's coming to fruition, is that Facebook is dialing in more and more as a TV medium, right? They want to be the Netflix from the social standpoint, and they want to be able to bring that watchable source to their audience, just like you're seeing right now.
And, I mean, who could blame them? I think this, and I think it relates back to what Snapchat is looking at too, but just these networks provided as content providers, I guess, or becoming content providers, just like we're seeing brands become content providers. The networks are the gateway for that.
Right.
I think it's just a continued battle that you're going to see across all of them.
Creators are actually very hungry for other video platforms, and YouTube couldn't be the only ones actually to monetize things, right?
Have you even watched anything yet on Facebook Watch?
No,
that's the thing. Like, it's cool. I've watched one. I don't know if you ever watched the BuzzFeed series called Worth It.
Right.
And they have locations based shows that they're doing now, and I kind of like those. And so I subscribed to a few of those. But that's how long has Facebook Watch been around? And I've just now only started to watch one. But I know there's other series out there. I think Micro has a series out there that's on it, and some other ones. So I mean, maybe as more content gets on there, I think it'll be more interesting for users. But I honestly don't think most of them know what Facebook Watch is. If you talk to an average user,
I think that's right. I think one thing I've always surprised me, I was surprised that Facebook hasn't done more to aggregate video, right? Just a video that's even in my feed is really hard to get at in an aggregated way. And so when Watch came out, I think you kind of go there, you're expecting to see maybe what you see in photos or something like that, but you're getting getting this content that's not necessarily related to what you're doing. It's just sort of the content they want to push on you. So it's a very different thing than what people are used to seeing on Facebook. So I think it hurts the value. So I think the interesting part will be how they start to tie into curation, and that is a very wide open game. No one really is doing content curation quite that well, except for maybe Netflix.
No, you're absolutely right. And in as much as the Facebook platform is centered on video, I mean, they've tripled down the play of live broadcast. They're still so far removed from being able to have a reliable access point, like you're saying, to the video, not only the curated video, but also they're constantly pushing the live stream and all the different live not channels, but the live videos that people are watching around you, but there's no way to actually dial it in yet, right? So right. Watch is a little bit far off. It's been around for a while, but that is the space in which they're going to evolve the channel viewing. I guarantee it. So anyway, again, we certainly appreciate all participation from our live broadcast viewers. Now, Search Engine Journal from Roger Monti has an article here. Bing adds sentiment analysis to search. Google is said to be next. Now, check this out, everybody. In a blog titled Toward a More Intelligent Search, Bing Multi-Perspective Answers, Bing announced that they are incorporating a technology often referred to as sentiment analysis into their version of what Google calls featured snippets. Sentiment analysis is the ability to understand whether content has a negative or a positive sentiment. Nothing scary there if you're voting by sheer clicks, huh? The implications of how this may affect SEO are far-ranging, especially if Google rolls out their version. So here's the deal. Are we going to actually crowdsource positive and negative? Honestly, Facebook's already been doing it and running experiments on us. But literally just crowdsourcing all sentiment about every content and allowing your own viewer sentiment to change based on the group think. Is that what we're actually seeing here?
Well, you thought SEO was hard today.
All right, yeah, kidding me.
Yeah, no, I think, Noah, go ahead and in that article, click on this first link that's in here. So scroll down just a little bit, if it'll let you. And click on that first link. And so there's an example, sorry, not that one. That one, yeah. So there's an example in this Bing blog that kind of shows of what it would look like in a Bing search result. And
go ahead and pull that up on screen if you would.
We might, I think you clicked on the wrong thing, so you might just have to put the URL back in there, Noah. But so there's an example of hot yoga. And so I think where it comes more in play here is when it's a short tail keyword search. So this search was just hot yoga. Okay.
Okay.
And so it's like, what feature snippet would you even put for just hot yoga? Like just what hot yoga is? Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? And so that's where kind of the dual answer kind of makes sense, where it's a short term and the search result might. So scroll down there, Noah.
But the interesting thing on that is hot yoga good for you? Right above there.
I don't even know what hot yoga is, people. I'm just scared of even reading.
Need to search it.
No. You don't search when you're trying to really figure it out. Some weird things can come up. Yoga. What is hot yoga?
So yeah, but this gives you a why and a dangers of, not a what is.
Right.
So I can see where this feature could be nice, and I think back in the Search Engine Journal, Danny Sullivan talks about how Google is trying to roll out their own version because there's more than one answer for a question.
Right. So you're gonna, obviously Google is tripling down in its user input in an intake space, and we just talked about Google local Q&A last week or the week before about the audience's participation on interactivity, right? So the fact of the matter is that there is a big risk if you're opening up so much participation. Who the heck is going to monitor all of this? It's just, you talk about forums and the like back in the day. My gosh, it's the next Wild West, right?
We have machine learning now, Aaron.
Oh, that's right. Skynet's going to be able to take care of everything. Excellent. Any thoughts about that, Garrett?
I think in some ways it's just you can see, those snippets can be a bit biased. And I think what's interesting, I thought, was more than anything the search term that you saw leading up to it. Is hot yoga good for me? You're asking a very specific question. I think it's just sort of a telltale sign of where search has come in terms of how we trust it, the types of questions that we ask it. I think there's a lot of implications for marketers think about just from that case, that standpoint, those types of long tail questions versus, just hot yoga. We're actually asking Google for an opinion on hot yoga. Or Bing, I guess, in this case.
Right, but we know where this is really going to center in, and that's the voice search, right? Because these questions, and if that AI can feed right into that smart speaker, right, and all of a sudden you're getting your answers right from Bing or right from Google for this matter, for Google Home, and Alexa's in there. All of a sudden, it's giving its opinion, and now the entire household is trusting it and not verifying it. I just see the harbinger of doom here. Anyway, you know what? To make sure that you don't get taken aback by the news of the day, we certainly want you to sign up for our hearkening bell of what's happening on the digital marketing front each and every week. So sign up for our newsletters. Simply to the text to the number 22828, the word Edge Talk, all one word. You can actually start the sign up process right there, or go over to edgeofthewebradio.com and you can actually sign up for the newsletter. And the newsletter that's coming out is wonderful. It's free of charge, obviously. We never use your email for anything but sending over some great news items that we talk about, some insights into the interview that we've had, as well as turning around and letting you know who's upcoming and some insider thoughts and some techniques, so you can actually be more well prepared in this digital marketing landscape. So that's edgeofthewebradio.com, and just sign up right there at the header of the document. Right. All right, thumbs up from Tom. All right, so follow all the featured trending topics over at edgeofthewebradio.com. Now let's deep dive with this week's featured guest.
Now it's time for Edge of the Web featured interview with Garrett Moon, CEO and co-founder of CoSchedule.
Okay, we literally have people talking about hot yoga on the stream now. It's a style of yoga that's normally performed in hot and humid conditions. # sweat more. I had no idea.
This is the topic I always like to lead with.
It's an icebreaker, right? I mean, literally, let's just hunker down and do some hot yoga. All right. Hey, for all of our listeners and our watchers, let me introduce Garrett Moon to you. He's the CEO and co-founder of CoSchedule, the web's most popular marketing calendar and the fastest growing startup in North Dakota. CoSchedule is actually used by more than 10,000 marketing teams in over 100 countries and is ranked as the best business tool by a startup on entrepreneur.com. Garrett's new book, The 10X Marketing Formula, which was written for marketers who are looking for a blueprint for creating a competition-free content realm that stands out and gets results. That's what he's actually about to roll out. When does that book drop, Garrett?
It is the second or third week in March. I don't know the exact date, March 19th or 20th, something around there, about midway through the March. So it's coming soon. Absolutely. And we're excited, and we certainly want to get a copy here at Edge. Well, Garrett, why don't you give our listeners and watchers your backstory? Yeah, well, CoSchedule, we launched in late 2013, early 2014. We really got rolling. And, originally what we really wanted to do was just solve some of those day-to-day problems that customers were having or marketers were having with visibility on their projects. So visibility on blog content, visibility on social media content, where those things are being scheduled and how they're getting pushed to the web. So we, our tool is a marketing calendar. Allows our customers to schedule both social media content, content marketing-based content, as well as full-scale marketing campaigns and projects, and give them a single place of visibility. One place where they can see all their projects, everything their team has going on. Everyone on the team can log in and say, hey, this is what I need to work on today, tomorrow, next 6 weeks, whatever. And that's really what got us rolling, just trying to solve those problems. My co-founder and I ran a web agency, and we're helping our clients do a lot of those things on a day-to-day basis. And, just thought, this is way too hard. There's got to be a better way to do this and put it in one place. So that's what really got us rolling. But, just like everybody else, when you start something new, we started with zero. We started with zero customers, zero blog subscribers, zero Twitter followers. We had all of those mountains to climb in order to be successful. And so, I talk about in the book, I kind of set up this story. It was as in for any startup, right, or any modern business, it was a results or die situation. We had put our agency and our service-based work on the line. We had this new piece of software that we had built from the ground up, and we needed to find a way to generate excitement, generate an audience, and sell that product ultimately. So the book really covers a bit of that story on how we went from zero to where we are now, with some of the things that you shared there, Aaron, already. And, these are the things that worked for us. And a few of the things that didn't work for us, we cover that as well. So the book tells that story, but more importantly, what I'm really focusing on is, when you get in a situation where you need to figure out how to produce results, you need to figure out how to produce sales or not, what you need to do in your marketing and what you need to do in your planning in order to get there.
So, just a little bit of backstory for those who don't know me. I'm a huge a hoarder of tools. I mean, the fact of the matter is, over the last 14 years, my 28 years in just the digital realm, there's never been a centralized, a constant pursuit of the tool that you can actually bring your entire team together. And I applaud you for actually taking that initiative out of just utilizing somebody else's tools, and actually understanding that if you're wanting to create something that is valuable to the web marketing, the online marketing community, you got to do it yourself, right?
Yeah. Well, you got to listen to what they need, right, more than anything, right? It takes those two approaches to it for sure.
Yep, but you've been in the pain of actually having disparate tools to try to manage and be able to monitor things and not have a centralized dashboard is it's immense. And on top of everything, what's it like in the post agency world? Is there like a therapy group that we can actually join?
Boy, there should be. There should be. I think that has been something that has been really fun to talk about. We talk to a lot of agencies every day that are, are service-based companies that are using the tool, and some of them just want to figure out how we pivoted to services. Some of them want to optimize the process, it's a dynamic, particularly with tools, right? Yep. In particular, if you want a collection of tools, just jump in an agency at any time, because you have clients and customers that are coming to you with their own set of tools that they've already adopted that you just need to kind of pick up and run with. You're adopting your own. So it gets even more complicated as you start bringing those all together. And, one of the things that we've always found is you get a lot of tools that promise themselves as the all-in-one, like we'll do everything for you. And in particular with agencies, they've been pitched a lot of those types of tools. And what they find is that they end up with something that's, okay at a few things, not so great at other things, and not quite the right solution, or not living up to the hype. So we really try to focus on being a little bit more tool agnostic. We're not trying to do every part of your marketing process, but what we're actually trying to do is give you a single place to see everything together. We kind of think of it like mission control for your whole marketing process, or mission control for all of your marketing teams.
And that's essential. You can track other with other tools and what have you, but communication and sharing, especially whenever you have different disciplines under one roof, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And what marketing campaign or what modern marketing process doesn't include half a dozen disciplines by default. So there has to be a lot of pieces involved. Social has to be a part of it. So we do direct social publishing. We're integrating email marketing. We integrate the blog process, and we eliminate as much copy paste marketing as we can along the way. So to make it really easy. But yeah, we tend to focus more on workflow, a lot on workflow, and just like how do tasks get distributed, how do team members know what they need to be working on, how do clients get communicated with and reported to. Those are big things that everybody's working on and trying to get better at every single day.
Absolutely. So with the workflow, and also, do you have a space in which, boy, I didn't even think about it, of pulling up some screenshots of the software. But do you have an environment where you can also collaborate on the brainstorming front and be able to share ideas and start incubating campaigns?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you really start with planning is the first piece of that, right? So that could absolutely start with a brainstorm session. It could incorporate some of the things you already have in Google Docs and Evernote, where we integrate directly with some of those areas. So we'll just pull that in. But yeah, I mean, we have a draft bin. You can put the stuff that you think might be a good a good place to go or a good idea in the draft bin. Actually, in the 10X marketing forum, I talk about a process that we use at CoSchedule for ranking those ideas and helping you prioritize your marketing projects, which ones are going to get your attention and which ones aren't.
Cool.
But from there, once you have that brainstorm, once you have that draft spin, it's about putting it on the calendar and actually making a plan. And so we really, focus on, how do you give yourself, how do you give your team that visibility in, what we're going to do today, what we're going to do later this week. But even beyond that, what is the next 6 weeks, 3 months, whatever you need to go, what does that look like, and how are we going to approach it? So starts in that draft spin, goes directly onto your editorial calendar, and then that same place. And a lot of times what you see as marketing teams, that's where the spreadsheets come out, right? It's like right in that process.
Right.
There. But once you have it on a calendar, now we can execute right on top of that. So now your team workflows, task assignments are right at the calendar level, and people who need to be involved in creating content or proofing it or sending it out or whatever it needs to be are going to looped in. They're going to be able to log in. They're going to see that project on their calendar along with a list of what they need to get done and what they need to get done by, and makes life a lot easier that way.
So this is also, again, it's a workflow, but it's also a project management tool as well. So you can actually centralize your tasks and be able to burn down your tasks and know that you've completed everything. So there's also not disparate areas where you've got to attribute different execution for it. It's all centralized right there. Yeah. It's
all centralized. Yep. So we got a unified calendar, full project management. One of our favorite features there is something we call task templates or task workflows. We create pre-made workflows or reusable workflows, for certain things like a blog post or, prep for a podcast or a live stream, not on Snapchat, but on some of the other platforms. Like those things are just, they happen all the time on your calendar. You don't need to treat each one like it's a brand new thing that you did. So you can create a task template. You put that blog post or that webinar or whatever it might be on the calendar. You apply that template. Now everyone on the team is looped in. They know what they need to do. And we can even build out that schedule so that those tasks are automatically assigned and there's an automatic due date attached to them.
Oh, cool.
And then one thing that we really love is the idea of being able to pick that up on the calendar and move it across the calendar. If something comes up, if a marketing fire drill happens and you need to push a post back a week or two or whatever you might need to do, or adjust the entire multi-part campaign, you can pick that up on the calendar, move it back a couple weeks, and then we're able to go in there, reassign all those due dates, reassign and reschedule all of the social messages, and just do like all of that legwork for you. So much of a marketer's time gets eaten up in just these like little maintenance tasks, right? Just adjusting schedule times, just recommunicating deadlines, fiddling with the project management software. So if we can make as much as we can just fit around the marketer's workflow, where it's just drag and drop type stuff, it saves them a lot of time and headaches. Excellent.
So I mean, you're improving efficiencies just so the marketers don't have to mess around with it. That's great. Garrett, CoSchedule has grown quite quickly, right?
We have, yeah. I mean, 2014 to now, 0 to 10,000 accounts worldwide, 100 plus different countries. One of the top selling just marketing calendar solutions on the market. So it's been a fun ride.
So what do you attribute that to? Because I mean, not all software platforms get that type of success. There's a number of scenarios in which we know a lot of platforms that don't exist anymore. They never had even traction like this. So what's the how did that happen?
How that was? There's so many things, but I think the one answer that above it all, like CoSchedule, no matter what, I think we're extremely good at inbound marketing. Our inbound team is top class. They're just an awesome group. And so we've really used that primarily to grow. And, it's getting harder and harder to make an impact there. But even when we started in 2013, 2014, it was an uphill battle. So we had to learn a lot of lessons on how to make that work, which is definitely what we talk about in the book. But I think the other thing is just, it was the need that people had, right? I mean, visibility in terms of what a marketing team is doing is just really hard. And it's moving so quickly. The number of channels that and the types of things that are changing are happening so fast that it's hard for some platforms to keep up. And I think we've kind of gotten out of this phase where we don't really believe in the all-in-one tool that's going to do everything, right? It's not going to do my email plus social plus blog plus my web CMS. Like, that's just not. It's not going to, we're going to have some other elements here. So as the kind of market has shifted, we've been in the right place to be able to say, we're going to give you one place. We're going to focus on just keep adding sanity, right? We're going to get rid of that Excel spreadsheet that you have just so that you can keep a bird's eye view of your projects. We're going to give you that bird's eye view. So I think it's just that need is there. Every single day. We talk to dozens of marketers that have spreadsheets and, Outlook calendars, or Google calendars that are full, and they need to go somewhere else.
You're preaching to the choir right here, because we have always gone through the challenges of centralizing and communicating with our own internal staff, and it sounds much simpler than it actually is, especially whenever you have an omni-channel type of agency and multidiscipline. There's always a need for that clarity and collaboration, especially if you have remote workers as well. You got to have a key central point where everybody can kind of hunker down, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So would you say that's the number one reason why your customers are actually choosing CoSchedule?
Yeah, I mean, I think it gives them some sanity. It gives them an organization. It gives them a place to actually feel like they have that process that they need in order to be more consistent and publish better content. Right? Get your time off of some of those repetitive tasks and apply it to better marketing and better focus on more focus on results.
I dig it. I'm going to have to check this out and see whether our agency could have a look at this thing as a tool set. Again, I have a problem. I keep on getting to new tools, but it does sound like you guys have put together a little oasis there.
Let's see if we can help some of those tools work together a little bit and keep organized.
Hey, and on our comment feed on the Facebook Live, Carl Bush actually says he can't wait for the Instagram API integration as well.
Can't we all? Hallelujah, right? I mean, boy, for us tool integrators in particular, we've had to go through so many hoops just to give some sort of value to customers so they can simplify that process. So everyone's really excited about that, and it should save us all a lot of time.
Excellent. Well, you certainly know so many of these accounts that are using your platform now, and with 10,000 plus, now you're a little bit separated from the daily utilization. But you got to know some really cool stories and success stories using CoSchedule.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that I think is pretty interesting is, when we can really see teams transform. I guess one of them, and it's mostly because I helped him with it, directly a little bit, was Pat Flynn, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with Pat. And he's somebody we've had on our website, and he's been a great help and advocate to us. But when I talked to him, he was in that exact boat where his marketing team was starting to hire. He was adding more people to his team. He was expanding. They were taking on more webinars, more podcasts, and everyone's familiar with Pat and all the awesome stuff that he produces at smartpassiveincome.com. But it was just one of those times where his team was growing, and so you need a way for it to get this managed and get it under one roof and make sure it is happening on time. So we were able to kind of get him set up, get him a calendar, and his team just sort of like naturals, right? Like, I mean, they filled that thing out. they asked us like 2 questions along the way. I'm not going to lie, and they took care of it. But I think what was interesting to him, and I don't know the exact numbers. I know we have a case study on the website somewhere, but just the actual tangible results that their team was able to see in terms of, hey, you know what, we're actually able to like publish 2 to 3 times more content in a week because we are no longer focusing on process stuff. We're just focusing on production and execution. And those are my favorite types of stories. I think in particular, we were talking about agencies. We have tons of agencies that have that same situation, but just at like a whole different scale, where they're not doing that just for their own, marketing, but now they're doing that for, a handful of clients. And when you're billing by the hour, when you're a service-based company, every extra minute or 2 that you're spending on the task that you don't need to can add up. It's actually costing your money, your company money. It's preventing you from growing your client base and growing your business. So, we hear things like, man, you guys have saved us an hour and a half on every single piece of content we publish.
Wow.
That's we love hearing that because it means that it's really making a tangible difference on the satisfaction that they have on their job, on the ROI that they're able to return to their clients or to return to their business. And I think, helping them just feel better about what they're doing. You don't feel like you're running uphill all the time trying to get that ROI. So those are pretty cool. So love to hear those types of things.
Oh, it's got to be gratifying as well, because it's not only, you saw the need and you heard from your team, you built the thing, but on top of that, seeing that, this is what's really cool about what you guys have done is that you took a risk to build this, right? And it was needed, but now you're seeing affirmation right there of companies from across the world benefiting from what you saw as the gap, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, we also benefit from having lots of customers that are smarter than us and tell us what they want and need and how to make it better. And we love that as well because, I think you just like you're talking about yourself, like marketers in general tend to be tool junkies. Maybe no, he's not on purpose, but there's so many networks, there's so many channels that you end up adopting so much along the way. So the modern marketing stack is huge, and they just keep telling us like, hey, can you simplify this? This is taking me a bunch of time. Can we add this to the calendar? And we love doing that. So our product team is fantastic, but we take a lot of cues from customers all the time and appreciate how they help us.
Yeah. So let me ask you about that. Is a part of any good SaaS rollout is listening to your customers, right? So part of that, how do you give your customers the ability to give feedback back and be kind of constructive in the evolution of CoSchedule?
Yeah, now we have lots of different channels, but one of my early favorites where we really relied on customers was right in the beginning. First probably year or so of us running the software, we actually had a group called co-pilots. And this was a group of people that were all ended up becoming paying members of the tools. So they were invested in it. They weren't just trying it for free all the time, which can kind of skew your results. Yep. But I think we did. It was probably for 3 or 4 months straight. We did weekly Google Hangouts, where we would show them early features, sometimes just wireframes. A lot of times they were these fake interfaces that we would kind of piece together, maybe using like Keynote or something to make it look like they were working. And just say, okay, how would you use this? Would this be useful to you in some cases? And then what would you use it for? And, that group gave us all kinds of early feedback. They helped us, I'd say more than anything, focus what we worked on. That's, in this book I talk about, it's called 10X, and it's about finding projects that will have the ability to multiply your results by 10 times versus projects that are good and give you 10% improvement, but probably, but if you have the choice, right, to put your time into, you're going to put it into a 10X project versus a 10% project. And so customers really help us find those more than anything, right? Like it's just, what are the things that are going to bring you the most business value? And that's what you kind of have to figure out from customers when you're building product. And really, I think too, the same goes for marketing. As you're doing marketing, you kind of have to figure out like, where are your 10X opportunities? Where are your the things that really make that big impact on your customers, and get that information from them, because they'll probably tell you, they'll give you those clues if you ask for them. So, aside from that, our support channels, we have Facebook user groups, a couple different ones based on that are focused on different areas. We do some Twitter chats and all kinds of stuff. We look everywhere for it. We're always up for feedback.
Excellent. Well, you get it. You understand that it's a living, breathing organism, right? And especially in the attention span that we have, just for the digital native, unless we as practitioners, as consumers of product, unless we see that type of ready and able response from a platform like yourself, they'll tune out. Whether or not they're getting efficient, they want to, if they're living in a space, right? From a marketing standpoint, execution standpoint, we got to know that we have somebody who's listening to our needs. So that's great. So that was a great segue into the book itself. So there are going to be some that say another marketing book. Well, why write the book, and why now?
Yeah, I think it really all came together. I had a few speaking opportunities over the last couple of years, and just listening to the questions, and what people are asking about and how people are looking at it, particularly in terms of like content marketing. And I ended up thinking a lot about Gartner's hype cycle, which some people might be familiar with. But this hype cycle is just this cycle that talks about how a piece of technology is adopted over time,
right?
And it kind of starts off, everyone's really excited about it, and it very, very quickly achieves a whole lot of hype and goes straight to the top. And then all of a sudden, pretty quickly sometimes, it goes back down to the bottom in terms of the trough of disillusionment. And I feel like with a lot of content marketing, like that's what I felt like was going on. Like particularly with content, many of the social channels and stuff, we were sold this bill of goods, right? This stuff is supposed to work. All you have to do is write helpful content, publish those blog posts consistently, sprinkle a little SEO dust on top of that, and you'll be fine. The customers will be like spilling credit cards right into your lap, right? Like that was the idea. I might be embellishing a little bit, but you don't write a book without learning how to do some of that. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the reference of sprinkling some SEO dust, because honestly, there's so many customers who just think that it's like sprinkling magic fairy dust, and maybe it rises to the top just like that.
Yeah, if only it worked that way.
I wish it did. So,
but
go ahead.
Well, I was just to say, I think what happened is we just got to this point where it's like content marketing needs to not just be a thing that I do every single day. Social needs to not just be a thing I do every day that takes up time. Like this needs to provide value to my business, to my company, to my agency, to my clients, right? So it really became about how do we get past, some of these things that we're doing in content marketing that, we're emulating what other people did, right, or we're just following this list of five best tips to make sure you rank for number one every single time, right? Like, how do we get past those types of things to an actually a results-oriented marketing process? How do we use the parts that work? How do we figure out faster what's working and what's not?
Mm-hmm.
And that we really have something that's returning ROI. And that's why we talk about, right on the book, we talk about results or die, right? It's just like that startup. When CoSchedule first got it started, marketing needs to produce results or change. You can't just do it because. And more, I'm just, I think now I'm seeing so many people kind of be in that trough of disillusionment where they're tired of not getting the results. They need to break out of that and make sure it provides value for their company. Their boss is asking them, "Hey, we've been investing in this.
Yep.
What do we got to do? What do we got to do to actually make it work, make it sing?"
Yeah, result or die, and you'll find that as digital marketing matures and it's constantly maturing, that is the conversation, and there's no other. And honestly, the consumers, or I should say, the clients, honestly don't care what you're doing, and it's not about how you do your particular job. It's about the revenue they're getting, and derivative ROs, the return on objective. Right. It all is about performance, and you got to be able to demonstrate it.
Yep, absolutely, and rightly so, right?
Yeah.
Rightly so. And I think even in the early days of the web, and even with social and content, it was so much about like, oh, you just have to be there. Like if you're not there, you're dead, right?
Right.
Now we're all there, and everyone's coming around going like, okay, now what? And so we got to.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
you got to have that next conversation, and I think that's what we really try to focus the book on. So it's not another book that just says, hey, you have to do content and social and email. It's like, here's how to actually get success out of the content and social and email.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's a temptation for marketers to actually emulate what worked for somebody else. Where's the biggest downfall in that?
Well, I'd say this, right? I think it's really easy to forget that your marketing is actually in competition now with other marketing, right? We're used to thinking about our business being in competition with other businesses, right? And we're used to thinking, quite a bit about attention being in competition, right? Your ads are in competition with articles that somebody is reading, and you got to figure out how to overcome some of the things. But I think particularly with content, like we're kind of in this situation where the amount of content is overwhelming. We just, in the first part of the show, we're talking about Snapchat, we're talking about YouTube, we're talking about Netflix, right? Like content is everywhere, content marketing is everywhere.
Yep.
And all of your competitors, like, it's not about just showing up. That's not good enough anymore. Everyone's there, everyone's doing it. So you have to start thinking about your marketing as in competition to others. And that's why I talk about a phrase that we've used around our office for a number of years called competition-free content. And really thinking about, like, how do we create content that has no competition, that's able to stand out on its own completely and differentiate ourselves from what everybody else is doing. So I think starting to move down that path of just that, like, mind shift change really becomes powerful. And I try to do a lot of that in the book. We're not doing like, hey, do this. There's a 1, 2, 3 step formula. It's more about, okay, here's a new way to approach this problem and thinking that will help you kind of get past just copying what everybody else is doing or just following those 5 tips from that blog post and really creating something that's different.
Well, you're absolutely right. And in your book, you actually reference what you call the content core. Yeah. So you've got the shift of mind of finding the gaps, finding the differentiation, finding the space in which you can actually move the entire concept of how to market, not how to market, but the messaging that you're doing. That's the content core, right?
That's content core. And so those two concepts, competition-free content, content core, really build on top of each other in a lot of ways. So that competition-free content, I talk a little bit about a book that some people may be familiar with called Blue Ocean Strategy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Few years old, but a great primer on just understanding the differentiation that needs to happen in the marketplace. And it's a business book; it's not a marketing book, but that concept is there. And if we're all doing the same type of marketing, we're all doing it the same type of way, and we're all reading the same blog posts, then we're all swimming in a bloody ocean of competition, right? We're fighting each other for our customers' attention. So we have to differentiate ourselves with blue ocean type of thinking, blue ocean content, where we're not going to have competition. We're in a wide open blue expanse, free from competition. And so content, competition-free content, we go through a whole process on how to identify what your competition-free content is, how to understand, how to think about it. I talk a little bit about how that worked for us at CoSchedule, and I talked a couple of case studies, not people that we worked with at CoSchedule at all, but just others that have done it on the web. And then the other thing we find from that is this this core content core concept is moving past, and it's a way to differentiate yourself, but moving past content that gets attention, which is so easy to think about, and really moving toward core content topics and concepts that really provide the value that your customers are looking for, right? Not just audience members, but actually your customers. So I can give you kind of an example of that. We talk about, we talk about 2 different types of content. One I talk about is parallel content. And so something like that on the CoSchedule blog post might be, 5 tips on, improving your SEO results right away tomorrow, right? Something like that. Or we even have one, we kind of laugh at it because we published it all that long ago, but it was 12 expert tips on predictions. And these types of things tend to get a lot of traffic, tend to get a lot of attention, but at the end of the day, the actual core content in that content doesn't actually relate to what CoSchedule does as a company.
Right.
It's parallel. It's running alongside it. So sure, marketers are reading it, paying attention to it, but we're not really, locking into the value.
Yep.
Content core really is more about saying, okay, like what are the things that people value about CoSchedule as a business and as a brand, right? What are the problems that we actually solve for our customers on a daily basis with our products and our services and what we do? Right. And now how do we turn that into the core content so that if somebody's reading a blog post, they're actually investing in our brand in a way that's connected directly to the problems that we help solve on a day-to-day basis. And it's a bit hard to explain. It can sound a little lofty, but it's really not that difficult. And I give you some really clear examples on how to find it and then how to structure content around that core topic.
Is it almost as you define your core and you look at degrees of variation from the core, you can actually judge every piece of content that you put out of how, what's the percentage of the content core in this message? It can still be parallel content, right? And I mean, we don't want to push out clickbait of any sort, but it's going to be attractive things that are more ancillary to what your brand does in its mission. But you can actually start judging, and if you have a particular metric to be able to evaluate that, you can see how much of that the content on a whole is actually tying into your mission, your values, your customer connection of why the customers actually utilize your services, and you can get them further into the buyer's journey process by having a more solid anchor of the content core. Am I on the right drift there?
Yeah, you're definitely on the right path. And I think one thing I think about it is we're really trying to we're trying to give your customer a topic that they value or that's important to them, it's interesting to them, right? So we're not getting away from that concept at all. But what we're trying to do is add that second layer and making sure that it's connected to the value you provide as a company.
Oh yeah.
That's very focused on what you're doing. So for us at CoSchedule, one of the examples would be we had a project or a new feature called marketing campaigns or marketing projects. And, we said, okay, yeah, you've been using your calendar to schedule blog posts and social media and email and all those different types of things. But what happens when you put it all together and you run a multi-week campaign? And so we built a feature that was this wrapper that really allowed marketing managers to really visualize campaigns and then send them out to customers. And what we did is we took a look at Google searches, at forms or chats in blog comments and stuff like that, and just kind of try to understand like how customers were discussing that exact problem, like how they were discussing how they manage campaigns right now, what strategies they use, and what phrases do they use that. So by looking at that, we were able to understand some of the problems that customers have when they're creating campaigns and trying to manage them across their team. And then what we did is we actually took those types of things and we said, okay, how do we increase visibility on marketing campaigns to the rest of your team? Maybe that's the problem that they were having and wanted to do. And so we'd actually write a whole piece of content on solving that exact problem, on how to increase visibility for your team. Now, that solution may include CoSchedule, and it's one option, or it may not, right? And we're not going to be overly pushing in that. But what our interest is we want to make a connection with our brand to people who are experiencing the problems that our software sells. And the best way to do that is focus on core content topics that actually just provide customers with value on that problem.
Well,
whether your software or not, we want to provide value.
No, I completely understand. And that's what you're talking about. It's something that from a marketing standpoint is the holy grail whenever it gets down to authenticity, because what you're dealing with is you're finding your core, your content core of communication. You're also what you described, you're mining the true needs and pain of the users of your system. And whenever you move that content out, and it could be, the recipe could be 30% more non-core oriented content, but when it gets down to it, what you're doing is you're sharing the mindset of your organization of why they built what they've built. So all of a sudden, as that new visitor is checking out this brand new piece of content, they are by definition, by consumption, getting aligned with the mission and who you are as an organization, as opposed to having it completely separated of just clip, headline bait, clickbait type of content that doesn't penetrate the membrane of the organization, right?
Yeah, exactly. Helping them think like you do in some
Yes,
ways.
there it is.
A way of saying that. Yep.
I love it. I love it. I love this stuff. So, in the 10X marketing philosophy, you use the battle cry, results or die, and I love it. We actually here at Site Strategics pulled in. We have a mantra every year, and this year was results. And we're constantly focusing on how to bring those better results to our clients. I mean, it's suitable for a startup, but I mean, for the typical content marketer, they have been a bit far removed from measurable results. And to the defense of the content marketer, they're looking for engagement, and a lot of times the social media or the content is being consumed in a long life cycle. And we've seen SaaS companies come and develop lead scoring based on all the content that's tracked based on a particular flow, a kind of a guiding factor into conversion, right? But those content marketers aren't regularly seeing the conversion metrics. They're inside the engagement metrics. They're inside of, hey, this is being shared this way. They're a few degrees of separation from the actual transaction model or the ROI, right?
Yeah, well, that's part of the problem. Maybe is that there's just too much to measure, right? And then there's a lot of bunny trails that you can end up with. And I talk about that in the metrics chapter, and how there's a meeting, an infamous meeting at CoSchedule where it's just like, you know what, we're throwing it all out the window. We're going to look at this. We're going to just look at email subscribers, right? Like we're gonna write content in our content core. We're going to look at this. That's going to be the one metric, and we're going to do nothing but that for 6 months, and then we'll review it. And we started doing that, and now we'll kind of revisit that one KPI, but really as a content team, we try to focus on that one thing, and it becomes really powerful. And it's partially what I was talking about before. Like a lot of this is just mindset shifting. So I love what you're talking about in terms of a company. You're having this primary focus of results, and just making that our mantra. It's the same type of idea. It's just boiling it down to a specific KPI, a specific mantra, a mantra that you're focusing on, and really sort of using everything else as a diagnostic tool, right, as a lead measure, but not as the one thing that you're absolutely measuring. And so that's, it's great. We can measure everything, but it can also get in our way sometimes. Oh,
yeah. You can get into analysis paralysis, and again, you can forget, and in all frankness, that the business that's hiring you is expecting results. However you get there, with whatever you do from a strategy standpoint and execution standpoint, they're expecting that phone to ring. They're expecting those agreed upon KPIs to be able to be that point of measurement of their investment, and you can't lose sight of that. You have to kind of rewire yourself into that mindset, because it could be very academic that we just go do this because this is a key factor of engagement and community building and these different areas. There can be a lot of tangential points, but when it gets down to it, you've got to have that almost tattooed on the back of your neck. This is what we're here for, right?
Right. And I think allowing yourself to change your methods, right? Change what you're doing, adjust things more than we are used to, I think, as we're used to those marketing plans, right? We're used to this, even especially in an agency. You not only have a marketing plan or proposal, but you might have RFPs and other things behind it. So there's a lot of like pre-thinking that happens in that world, where you feel like you sometimes you have to run the blueprint, like you have to do the plan. So, as a startup that doesn't work, I talk about how our engineering team used Agile. And then what I learned from that as a marketer. And, I don't go like through the really crazy, complicated and impossible process of like trying to say like, here's how you implement Agile in your marketing team. But more so what I'm looking at is like, okay, like here's how you become a team that's focused on learning and adapting based on results versus a team that's executing that plan, that you set up in the beginning. And again, kind of mind shift changes for us as marketers, but really important things with the current landscape of marketing.
Absolutely, and it has to be adapted. We as marketers have to adapt to that iterative process. That's what you're talking about. And I think as the wheat separates from the chaff, companies are more savvy on who they hire. is that they've hired digital agencies in the past that have just churned content for the sake of actually doing that execution. Yeah, companies need to find organizations that are learning as they're going, are iterative, are executing the marketing experiments. And, a lot of times the litmus test is going to be, what type of collaborative software do you use? I mean, companies, large companies down to the savvy companies, even at the local level, should start really vetting organizations that they hire and trust with their revenue. Of how do you communicate? How do you actually put together a plan, and how do you actually execute and demonstrate the results on that plan? That's what you're going to be seeing the clients in the future ask, right?
Absolutely. That's a great point. And, I think this, I would come at that a little bit in this book as sort of, here's some of the things you should be looking for. Like, these are going to be the characteristics. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The customers are getting more sophisticated and understanding that. They understand that they don't just buy a piece of paper that says, here's all the 10 things that we're going to do, and we're just going to assume that it works. Yep. They're not interested in that. They have a specific KPI that they want to hit. And, that's what we should be able to deliver on.
Absolutely. Well, Garrett, it was a fantastic conversation. I do want to be respectful of your time. This is a very good book. I'm literally not reading it yet, but I'm going to be, because these are the core principles that need to be championed and discussed. So I'm certainly eager to get my hands on it. Going to be doing an audiobook as well?
Yeah, we're talking about it. We'll see how things roll out, but I don't think we have anything planned. But cool. I'm warming up my voice for it, practicing here, talking for long periods of time.
Yeah, I hear it. Hey, I mean, you just got to push past it, man. It just kind of you start. Well, never mind. Hey, can you tell me what bugs you about your industry right now?
Boy. Which one? Software or marketing?
Ooh, okay. It's a jump ball. Marketing.
Yep. I still get bothered by the 5 quick tips types of content. Like, here's the 5 things you got to be doing, and if you're not doing it, you're crazy.
Right.
There's just still so much of it out there. And particularly, it drives me crazy when I see it applied to even outside of industry, to, agriculture or whatever, that people are doing. And I think, just some of that stuff where, it feels like that, the Facebook contest, like or comment, you win a $25 gift card. Like, right. It's just like, we've proven that this stuff isn't working. You got to move past it. And, you just still see it every day. And it's just like,
Yeah, but you know what? It's kind of like the old black hat SEOs of hopefully everybody's not doing that anymore. But I mean, even that is that this type of eye candy type of marketing, it's almost like this cul-de-sac. A magnet of not very well thought through content will actually pull those advertisers over in that space, and the digital native is going to be much more savvy. And they'll look for more authenticity. So go let them play with those balls over there, because
that's right.
we can actually tell some good, poignant content core type of stories, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, I got to ask you, on the other side of the fence, what excites you about the marketing industry?
I think I think that there's just been that awakening towards that results-oriented type of stuff, right? And cool. That just desire for it. And I think that's a really good sign. I like that we're kind of moving past just new stuff, right? The new shiny toys, yep. And really making them produce. And I think you're still seeing lots of good examples of that. And there's lots of smart marketers doing lots of interesting stuff. I think the other thing is, I think this conversation we went back to with Facebook and Snapchat is relevant as well. Just brands as content creators is very exciting to me as well. I just think it's been kind of fascinating and interesting to watch that. I mean, we're just coming off the Super Bowl, and you see just the type of content that's being produced on that level, both in the game and then off the web, and it's neat. I think it's sort of crossing that value paradigm, right? That content marketing provides is kind of making it full circle, and that's pretty neat.
Now it is, and it's great to be able to see champions such as yourself jumping in the fray and not only talking about it. I mean, you did something quite unique. You actually built software to be able to help us center in on what's important from a marketing standpoint. So maybe for marketers around the world, we just want to thank you for doing that. And I do want to reference one thing. You're a Cubs fan, man. Congratulations.
Yes, 2016 World Series champions. I'm not sure if people know that.
Well,
I asked my Google Assistant who won the 2016 World Series every once in a while just for fun. Because
I'm sticking with it because Lord knows when it's going to happen again. No offense. Sorry.
Right.
So a couple fun facts here. You also grew up in rural North Dakota, a city of 3,000 people, and graduated in the class of 90. Cool.
Yep. It seems completely normal to me. I don't know.
That's a big city for North Dakota, right?
Actually, it is. It was a little town called Beulah, and I think we were 10th, 8th or 10th, somewhere in there. We're in the top 10 somewhere for largest cities in North Dakota. So we're doing pretty good, actually.
Excellent. Well, I tell you what's really interesting across the entire thing here is CoSchedule was hatched on an airplane napkin. Do you have that airplane napkin?
I might have it actually in a notebook, just kind of like smashed in the pages, but it's at the bottom of my drawer. I'd have to really dig for it.
You got to frame that, man.
We should, yeah. It probably wasn't that good. I know it happened on a napkin, but I'm not really sure it had a ton of value on it. It was actually, my business. We actually had a client meeting in Atlanta, and we're flying back, and CoSchedule was actually 2 or 3 different product ideas that have been rattling around, and we kind of end up on that airplane merging them together into the product we have now. So it's a good napkin or a good conversation. I don't know how good that is.
Hey, it all starts somewhere, man. So we certainly want to promote the book, the 10X Marketing Formula, and it's available for pre-order. So if we can pull that URL up real quick, the website for the book is CoSchedule.com/10X book. You can still enter to win an autographed copy of the 10X Marketing Formula if you go to CoSchedule.com/edge of the web, right?
Yep.
And
we're giving away some signed copies there at the edge of the web URL.
We absolutely. And we also want to let some of our winners know. So we got 3 winners that we want to call out today. And we'll do a little bit of drum roll. There we go. So the winners that have been chosen so far from the Edge of the Web promotion with CoSchedule, we got Bob Helfs. Now, I don't know who that guy is. Who is that guy anyway? We also have Dax Meredith of Author Solutions and Katrina Reed of CSM Group. So congratulations to all those winners, and one happens to be a Site Strategics employee. But it's okay because I need him to read that book anyway. I was going to buy it for him. So thank you so much for saving me.
Totally randomized drawing anyway. So
Excellent. All right, so with that, we are certainly going to reach out to the winners and connect you guys together. Thank you so much for that. And there's also going to be another announcement of all the winners here soon, right, Tom?
Yeah, I think at February 13th, they're going to release all the winners there.
Cool.
Let them know. So
excellent.
Sign up, get the first chapter for free, and you'll be entered to win that autographed copy.
That's CoSchedule.com/edge of the web. Well, Garrett, we certainly appreciate your time today. We also appreciated CoSchedule as a sponsor of Edge of the Web over the past few weeks. So thanks so much for tying into our listeners and our audience and providing us something that is invaluable in this marketing world. There's so much noise out there, and be able to talk poignantly and specifically to results and using that as a battle cry. I applaud you, man, because you don't hear it that often, even in today's market space. And we've as marketers, by and large, have to go. We've got to step up and execute results on a regular basis for our clients, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what we're there for, and appreciate all you guys do to share that as well. Good forum, good discussion. I had a lot of fun. I appreciate being on the show.
More than welcome. Well, we would always like to have you back again. So let us know how the book goes down the way, and we'll certainly be lifting you up from our social points. And let us know if you ever want to come back, or if there's somebody else that we should talk to as well, because it's fantastic. There are other marketers in North Dakota, right?
There's several.
Just kidding. Hey, congrats on all your success, and we wish you all the best in the world. Any final thoughts for marketers worldwide that you could guide them with?
Results or die. Results or die.
You just want you want to have Mel Gibson's freedom, results or die, right? Fantastic. Well, thank you so much to all the listeners and watchers for Edge of the Web Radio. Special thank you to the colleagues over at Site Strategics, as well as everyone who helps in the production of the show. Special thank you to our guest, Garrett Moon. We always appreciate not only some great marketing influencers, but we also appreciate their business sometimes. So if you're interested in a sponsorship with Edge of the Web, give us a shout. You can contact us and inquire about what that looks like for your brand as well. So make sure you check out all the must-see videos and all the insider information over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. We will talk to you next week. Do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. Bye-bye.